you see a lot of cool designs and you'll be like, wow. Some of these images that we have on websites, it's actually the UI UX designer that designed it on some certain platforms. Look at those platforms too. We now have what we call layouts. Layouts. Now, if you look at your phone, right? I think for Android devices, yes, for Android devices, the way Google Meet is positioned, you have two users up, two users down, two. Are you guys with me? Is that what you have on your phone? If you're using your phone, you have like two. That's what we call layouts. Like two screens, two or two users. It's just like boxes. I don't know how to explain, but you guys are using phone and you know what I'm talking about. And thank you, Israel, for saving me. Thank you. Right? So this is what we call a grid design, a grid layout. We call it grid in layout. So it's a type of layout. We look at those things as we progress. There's another thing we call typography. Typography is the study of fonts and the usage of fonts. So yeah, we're going to be looking at font family and so many other font things, right? So let's go on. Let's go on. And I'm just going to be taking my time now to, explain the difference between what we call interaction design and visual design. Interaction design is a UX concept. Visual design is a UI concept. You must know the distinction because if you know the distinction, you know how to use the two of them, to make your work more presentable and to give your let's say your contractor, your clients, the feel that, oh no, this person knows what he's doing. Right. So now in interaction design, that is where we have the UX, right? Interaction design falls under UX. Interaction design is the interaction between users and products. The goal of interaction design is to create products that enable the user to achieve their objectives in the best possible way. Imagine now in a car, instead of me to have brake, right? And I'm not having button to say start. Like I don't have any brake that will say, okay, from park, I'll go to drive. From drive, I'll go to there's another thing they call arrow. That's revise, have you? Revise and revise. Imagine you don't have a brake. Even automatic cars, they have brakes, right? Imagine it's just one button and you click on the button to reverse. No, users are not used to that. Before we had automatic cars, we had manual cars, and those manual cars had brake. So the user, even if you don't know how to drive car, if I enter a car, because I've been in cars, different cars, the first thing I'll do is I want to turn to my left and see the brake I have there, right? And that's why they did not even stick to just having. Now they have a button that you just press in your car. It will just click on. When you just click on it, it will just start up the engine, right? But there's still a brake in that car. Why? Users are already used to it. There's no need taking it away from the user experience. There's no need changing the brake and putting another maybe a screen touch device there and it's fancy, right? But users are not used to it, right? So now this interaction design in is a US concept, like I said. It involves doing research about the interactions, what users are used to. It involves designing how users engage and experience products. The goal is making sure that the interaction is intuitive. Intuitive. You'll be hearing this word a lot. Intuitive. What do you mean by something is not intuitive? When you are growing up as a child, right? If a child should grow up with an ape, let's say a monkey, the child will start crawling with his both his hand and legs, right? Yes. Why? Because that is what he is used to. So one of the things that form our intuition is just knowing. You just know it, right? One of the things that forms our intuition as human beings is the things we see in our environment. They form our intuition. There are a lot of philosophers that will tell you now the mind is a tabula rasa. That means a clean slate when it arrives. When you arrive on earth, your mind is a clean state. And when you start to interact with your environment, it forms your intuition, right? So that is what UX is all about. Knowing what users are used to and pouring that into a software product. That's what an interaction designer does, right? Then we have visual design. Visual design just helps to what we call aesthetics, right? The visual appeal. This thing is appealing to me, right? There are some restaurants you will walk into, you just, even though you don't have 2 million in your account, you just start acting like you have 50 million in your account. Why? Because of the atmosphere, right? That's what we call visual design. the feeling, the look of that page. That's what we call visual design, right? So let's move on. Let's move on. Wireframes and colors. Wireframes and colors. Now, wireframe is a UX concept, right? We're going to be looking at what wireframes is in practical. We're going to do in practical where we draw out a wireframe and that wireframe now progresses to a design. So what now is a wireframe? A wireframe is just a skeletal outline of a website, of a whatever you are designing, right? What is the essence of having a wireframe? It gives you a clear overview of the page, the structure, the layout, how the information is presented on that page. That's what a wireframe gives you. Let me just scroll down my slide to a page where there's a wireframe. So let me scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. All right, I've seen it. I've seen it. Here we go. All right, beautiful. So you can see my screen, right? This is just a wireframe. It's more like a skeletal version of whether it's a mobile app you are designing, whether it's a website you are designing, it's just like a skeletal version of that application. All right, you can see this thing is specifying that there will be a logo here. This we call it abadabidi. This Avadavidi, let me use terms you are familiar with. This Avadavidi here, is saying, okay, there will be a text here, there will be a text here, there will be a text here. Are we okay? Now, when you see a box like this, we'll look at it. Don't worry. This means that there will be an image. Any box they draw like this is a rectangle, then they cross it here, right? It means that there will be an image here. And you can see that this is what I was trying to explain. This is how your Google Meet looks like. Well, in Google Meet phone, it's just like two users are just positioned like that, because of the size of the screen, right? So this is just it. This is just saying this is the layout. Okay, there will be three boxes on the layout, so three sections. We call it sections, three sections. Then there will be one big section at the bottom. You can see it. So this is just how a wireframe is. The skeletal version of how a website will look like, or how a mobile app will look like. All right, so let's go back to our screen. All right. So in UI now, we have what we call colors. Colors. Now, if you did your basic tech and basic science and you're listening when you were in primary school, you know that we define colors what we see when the light shines off an object. That's how colors came into being. Right? Now we have what we call a color wheel. And a color wheel represents all visible colors. All colors is represented in a color wheel. Whether it's dirty brown, light orange, or vanilla, or whatever color you want to call it. Everything is gotten from the color wheel, right? Now, the color wheel now helps you to kind of understand the colors you are to mix together. So you don't mix green, you don't have a green background and a red text, right? So when we look at color theory, you'll be seeing things like that. So colors is an aspect of UI. Now let's move on. Let's move on. We have what we call information architecture, and then we have what we call graphics design for the UI part. So UX, we have information architecture. What is information architecture? Information architecture is just a blueprint, a visual representation of the product's infrastructure, features, and hierarchy. I don't like to speak too much grammar, but when the time comes, I will still speak the grammar. Now, what information architecture is just trying to say is this: what will be presented on each page. If I'm going to a company, we call it a landing page. Look at all these terms. Landing page. The landing page is like the first page a user experience in a company's website. That is the first page they experience. That's the first page they meet, right? So what should be on a company's landing page? If you're a user now and you're going on a company's landing page, what do you want to see? You want to see, okay, what is this company about? What do they do? Hmm? Okay, you want to see, okay, now I know what they do. Can I book for their services? You want to see those things there. Oh, how can I contact them? Where is their address? Where are they located? Things like that. That's what we call information architecture. So information architecture will tell you which information should be presented on each page. That's what information architecture will tell you. And that is a